Since 1939, Novita has been supporting young people to achieve amazing things. Our first home was established on the beachfront at Somerton, where we provided post-hospital care for kids living with polio. In 1952, we purchased Ashford House, which was used as a school and therapy centre for children living with cerebral palsy. By 1966, we had expanded our service offerings to provide occupational therapy, kindergarten facilities, and we opened a new head office on Franklin Street in Adelaide's CBD. Like many not-for-profit organisations, scosa came from humble beginnings. Born out of a Novita parents group in 1946, the organisation would have a major impact on families of kids living with cerebral palsy in South Australia. Under the leadership of Miss Daphne Gum, scosa opened the first school for kids living with cerebral palsy from a single room within the Adelaide Children's Hospital. From there, the organisation continued to grow, and in 1950 the South Australian Spastic Paralysis Welfare Association was formally incorporated. Scosa's site at Woodville was officially opened in 1952 and was known at the time as the Woodville Home. Over the ensuing decades, the Woodville site was the high-profile centre of scosa's activities, providing a broad range of disability services including schooling and training, physiotherapy, respite accommodation and sport and recreational pursuits. It also acted as the base from where the popular Miss South Australia Quest campaign was coordinated, a fundraising campaign which brought awareness and education to the community about people living with disability. As demand for Novita's services grew in the early 1970s, a committee was formed to look for a larger facility. In 1971, the South Australian Government allocated 8.1 hectares of land at Islington, now called Regency Park, for us to build a state-of-the-art centre of excellence. Construction on the building we still call home started in December 1973. By 1976, our kids from Somerton and the Ashford House had moved in. Before long, we had established an orthotic department, a research unit, and the Children's Medical Research Foundation, now supported by Channel 7. Excitingly, we grew further still and began providing services to kids in regional South Australia during the mid-1980s. By the end of the decade, we had established the Novita Tech Test Laboratory, providing independent testing of medical and disability products to international standards. From the early 1980s, scosa services at Woodville were decentralised to suburbs across Adelaide to provide greater access and support. In 1983, the organisation officially became known as the Spastic Centres of South Australia, and from there the name scosa was adopted. In its Golden Jubilee year, 1989, Novita was providing services to nearly 1,000 kids through outpatient clinics, employment and training, and day options and independent living programs. In 1993, we took responsibility for the provision of all allied health therapy for kids living with physical disability through an exchange of services with scosa. Throughout the remainder of the 1990s, we continued to broaden our service profile, introducing respite care and home assistance for families of kids living with disability. A formal partnership with the Women's and Children's Hospital introduced a multidisciplinary approach to service delivery, allowing medical and allied health professionals to work closely together. 2004 was a turning point for the organisation when we changed our name from the Crippled Children's Association to Novita Children's Services. And in mid-2018, we evolved the Novita logo further in recognition of the expansion of our services beyond kids and teens to include support for adults living with disability. Novita is a combination of two Latin words, nova, meaning new, and vita, meaning life. Since the early days, both Novita and scosa have expanded their services considerably to meet the needs of people living with a broader range of disability. As established providers of services for kids, teens, young people and adults with developmental needs and disability, Novita and Scosa have both embraced the rollout of the landmark National Disability Insurance Scheme since 2013. Today, with the merging of Novita and Scosa, we are proud to define ourselves as one of South Australia's most respected providers of development, rehabilitation and disability services. A single provider offering a continuum of support for people living with disability at all stages of life. We are all very excited to be working together as one organisation to deliver for South Australians living with disability long into the future.